Welcome back to the Morning Blend. So much has changed because of this pandemic. So when kids go back to school, eventually, how should they respect other kids after being away for so long? Etiquette expert Camille Monk is the owner of Children and Youth of Esteem, and she's here with a few lessons to teach them before they go back to class. Hey, Camille.
Hi, how are you, Molly?
I'm good. It always makes me happy to see you and have you on the show, so thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Absolutely. Let's talk about these personal space restrictions. How do you think kids, generally speaking, are responding to those?
Well, as I'm out in public and as I take my son out, they're really responding in a very confused manner because initially, when everything broke out, we all assumed that by summertime, we would probably be back to semi-normal, and it has not happened. So when my son saw one of his classmates at the lake the other day, and both parents, myself and the other child's parent, we held our children back and said, just say hello. And these are boys, so they want to hug and wrestle and pick each other up. So their children are confused.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And I think sometimes what some parents decide in their household is obviously different from what other parents decide. So I wonder how you think parents can make it easier to identify for their own family, for their children, what the social engagement restrictions are.
Molly, that's such a good question. I saw a family that I thought did a phenomenal job. And I'm not saying every family can do this, but this is a great option. They had custom masks. On the mask, it said fist bump only. Hello. It said arm bump, or said, I'm not hugging today, but hello. And because we don't want to be rude and we don't want to be abrasive, but we still want to be safe. There are some methods that we can use. Custom X, say we're hugging. This is a hugging family, not usually, but not during COVID. Give us a good fist bump or whatever ways that, and especially making sure that your children know when we go in public, we cannot embrace our friends and family how we normally would. Give them a fist bump, give them an arm bump, or just give them a nice wave.
Yeah, I think it's important for us to remember that giving someone a fist bump, while it might feel rude, is actually being very polite to someone else, or even just keeping distance and not even getting that close. And so it makes me wonder about what's proper as it relates to the fist bump, the arm dab, the handshake. Do you think it's proper etiquette to assume that everybody is doing it?
I think it's proper etiquette to pay attention to your surroundings and your atmosphere. When you engage or encounter someone, I think you should first wait and see how they're responding. And it's always okay to ask, hey, are you fist bumping or are we just doing a wave? Because you want to be clear and you want to have that very, very, very clear clarity on what someone else is comfortable with. I'm a natural hugger, but I know during this time I can't hug. So I usually just stand back and say, hi, how are you? Are we fist bumping or what are we doing? And then I'll usually get a good response on how that other person wants me to engage.
I think it's good to get clarity right up front. I wonder how you would handle this situation. I know you're going to have a good answer because you always do. But sometimes I see someone that I know and they'll go to shake my hand or they'll go to hug me lately. And I'll be like, oh no, or oh, we're not hugging, like whatever. And they'll be like, nah, it's okay. I'm going to shake your hand anyway, or I'm going to hug you anyway. What if somebody kind of pushes it?
And that has happened to me, Molly. When someone does that, I take a large step back. And I often say, you know me well enough to know that I would love to hug you, or I am a believer in a good handshake. But because of where we are in society and our health concerns and, the restrictions, I cannot hug you right now, but I would love to. But I will give you a good fist bump or a good hello. But I usually take a big step back, Molly.
I think that's a great thing for all of us to remember, because I think it happens to us, and I think that the person means well, because you're usually quite familiar with them and you care about that person and you have a great rapport with that person, and maybe you haven't seen them in a while. But I think that's a great idea. Take a big step back and acknowledge the fact, oh my gosh, I would love to hug you, or I would love to shake your hand, but just say, I'm just trying to respect all the guidelines.
Absolutely. And if they are a good acquaintance or a good friend, they'll understand.
Yeah, I'm impressed as I've been out in public at the number of kids wearing masks. Have you noticed that
Mhm.
too? Are you impressed?
I have noticed that. I'm very impressed. I'm very grateful that the parents are taking the proper precaution for their children, and the children are pretty understanding. If my son and I are out in a store, after a while, I can see him wanting to tug at the mask, and he'll give me a look, and I'll give him a look and say, wait until we get into the car. And he understands we're still in a very public space. We have to keep that mask over our nose and over our mouths.
Some great tips today. Thank you so much for your time as always, Camille.
Thank you, Molly. Have a wonderful day.
You too. And to rewatch this segment or to learn more about Camille, you can visit our website. It's themorningblend.com.